Come on now. Okay, y'all. Shalom, family. It's good to see everybody here. I hope everybody is enjoying your day. It's pretty warm today where I am. We're going up to 76 degrees, and I think we're almost practically there now. So, I wanted to talk to y'all about something that was said to me. Um, the subject of slavery came up, and this white man decided to say, well, it was the Jews. It was the Jews down south that, most of y'all were owned by the Jews. And I was like, y'all, I know that's not true. I know that's not true. And in the whole grand scheme of things, slavery sucks. How you doing, Kid Gravity Beyond? Um, Slavery sucks. Now, let me ask the chat. Does it matter to you that our forefathers were enslaved to Jews, Scottish, Irish, Germans? Does it matter to you? They all treated us like crap. It don't matter which group owned us. They treated our forefathers like garbage. Does that matter to anybody in the chat who owned your forefathers? They still got lynched, they got beaten, tarred, and feathered, dismembered. I mean, graped, everything. Does it really matter what group owned us? They are really on this thing real heavy. And I'm just not getting it. What? Why should that matter to us? When we look at the history, it was horrific how our people were treated. It don't matter if it was mostly the Jews, mostly the Irish, mostly the Scottish. It don't matter to us. The captivity sucked. And it's not like, okay, let's say they were mostly, but so are you saying we got treated the worst by them but not by the others that owned us? Because the people, when I did my family tree, the people that owned my people were German. Okay, they were Germans. And on top of that, y'all, the county down there was named after the family that owned my family. And it still got that same county name down there. So I know where my people came out of. The county is named after the owners of my family, my forefathers. And I don't know, they've been on this mess for a while. And I thought about it and I'm like, why do they keep saying this to us as if it really mattered? Does it make the lynching photos less horrific? Did it? And I'm not believing that when those lynchings occurred, everybody in the crowd were Jews. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that at all. Magic City Enterprises 305. Thank you for the super chat. Looking forward to our new year, Lisa. Blessings, Hebrew fam. Thank you. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And y'all, one distinctive thing I do remember when I did my family tree, there were a lot of people in the South with the last name Hitler. If you can get to an old census record, pull up that name. There were a lot of people all across the South with that name. And I stumbled across it. Not, I didn't come across any slave owners with that name, but when I was looking through the records, there were a lot of people down in the South with that name. And, after World War II, a lot of them changed their family name because of what Hitler did. But if you look through the census records in this country, you will see an awful lot of people in the South with that name. A lot, and across many states down there too. So let me, because I want to hear some of your opinions. Let me know if it makes a difference to you about who owned your forefathers, because they are really on this heavy. They are laying it on thick. If you want to come on the panel and just give your opinion about that, you're more than welcome. In my opinion, it don't matter. Slavery sucked. It don't matter which family owned us. It sucked. It don't matter what their religious beliefs were. They were horrible to us. It didn't matter if they were a Jew, a atheist, a Christian. They all treated us like crap. They treated our forefathers like crap. It don't matter. Oh, yeah, there were a lot of Germans in the country too. That was another thing I noticed when I did my family tree. There were more than you can imagine that were down in the South. All right. So if anybody want to come up and give their opinion, because I thought about doing this in a video, but I said, you know what? I'm going to do this in a live stream because I'm sure many of you have heard this from the Gentiles as well. They've really been harping on this heavy, that it wasn't them. It was the Jews that did those things. I don't believe that. They all participated. It didn't matter whether they were rich or poor. It don't matter if they had a slave, if they didn't. Remember, the original police officers were Irish and they didn't have slaves. They were just poor white people that they made police officers, and they didn't necessarily have slaves, but they took part in harming us and killing us. So does it make them less innocent? No, hell no, it don't. Hell no, it don't. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that makes a difference to us? It doesn't. And that's all I wanna say, because them saying that to us is completely irrelevant. I don't know why they feel that should matter to us. I don't get it. Shalom, man.
Shalom, uh, my sister Lisa. How you doing?
Alright.
Amen. I want to tell you, my name's Reggie. Um, God bless you. Thanks for letting me on your show. Um, I want to say that my folks is originally from Columbus, Georgia,
Mhm,
and and um, my father's name was Castor, and my mother's name, my mother's maiden name was Hurd, and we it's been hard tracking who actually owned my great grandmother, but I
mm,
know that both of my great grandmothers was enslaved in the state of Georgia,
mhm,
and um, the people that own them, as I understand, they were Scottish,
mhm,
and so because I did my DNA, and one of my older sisters did her DNA, and we're like 5% Scottish,
mhm,
and but we got like 3% Irish in there, and we got like 2% British. The rest of it is like mostly like Nigerian and Ghanaian and Senegal, you
Mhm.
know. And but most of our DNA is Nigerian, you know. But I'm just, saying that I can attest. I just want to say that I can attest to what you're saying. That you know, when the whole reparations thing come up, a lot of people want to turn a blind eye to it. But you look at Black Americans' DNA, that that show you that DNA. Because I got about 5 or 6 family members. We've all taken our DNA test, and we pretty much coming up with the same thing. Scottish, um, Irish, and also on there was 4% German as well.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I mean, you can't, they can't deny, just looking at our DNA test, that's showing the history right there. That's
Right.
showing, So I
Yeah.
mean, so that's all I wanted to say. My first time calling into your show. I was kind of shy at first, but I said I'm gonna call in because I can, what you're saying, I can relate to that. You
Yeah.
know, and so the DNA test don't lie. I mean, we got German in us, we got Irish, we got Scotland, we got British. I mean, so you know, eh, you know, that's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's all over the place, isn't it?
It is even, and one thing, Sister Lisa, that didn't come up. We was looking for Native American to come up, but it didn't come up in our DNA test. Yeah, like I said, it did not come up.
It's more than likely there, but remember, they took all of those designations away from us
Right.
and put them on other people.
Yes. Yes.
So
Exactly.
always keep that in mind. More than likely, it is there.
Yes, it is. It is. I believe it. I believe it. Well,
Mhm.
sweetie, Sister Lisa, God bless you. I'm gonna chime out now, because
Okay.
I'm gonna let somebody else come up. But I just wanted to say that because this topic really, it really caught my attention. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, thank you, and you're more than welcome to return back to the panel.
Yes, ma'am. I sure will. God
Shalom.
bless. Shalom. God bless.
Now the family that owned my mother's side of the family, they were German, but they changed their name when they got over here and they went by the name Wilcox. And if you look in Georgia, there's a Wilcox County. Well, that county was named after the people that owned my mother's side of the family. And it's still Wilcox County. It's still that. And they had, when you go and look in the census, they had, I think, like up to 300 slaves. And they had a big old plantation. I mean, big plantation where, they had like a designated group of slaves on different parts of the property working, with livestock and the vegetation and stuff like that. But yeah, they had a few hundred slaves on that plantation, the Wilcox family. And my father, his family originally came out of the Carolinas and they went into Georgia for their freedom. A lot of people think that you had to come north to be free. What they did was they went into, back then, Irwin County. If you're from Ocilla, then you would know. Some of my subscribers know that area in Georgia. And in that county, it was prohibited to sell slaves. You could have a slave, but you could not they didn't have any auctions in the county. So if anybody wanted a slave, they had to go outside the county and get a slave, but they could not buy it within the county limits. So because of that, a lot of my dad's side of the family went into Irwin County because they knew they could not be sold. And that's how they got their freedom. A lot of people don't realize folks ran into like counties in Georgia where slavery auctions were prohibited, and also down in Florida they had counties and locations where it was prohibited, and our people knew that, and they would go to those counties to gain their freedom. And remember, back then, they didn't have a photograph of slaves. They would just etch a drawing or put names up, but slaves would always change their names after they ran away, and that's how they would keep from getting caught. They would change their first and last name. So my father's name was Thomas. That was my maiden name, Thomas. And that changed. Actually, the slave family that owned them was Smith. And after they ran away, they changed their name from Smith to Thomas. So there's a lot of Smiths walking around here that I'm related to, but I don't know them, because that was such a common name that they came out of there as Smith, but ran away and became Thomas. So so my Smith side of the family, I have no clue. I don't know any of them at all. None, unfortunately. And also the other thing I had found out was my great grandfather was a slave as a child. And and he was a slave towards the end, a few years before it ended, and him and his brother were on the same plantation together. And his brother was sold off in Macon. He got sold to a family in Macon, Georgia, and they never saw each other again, ever again. The two brothers never seen each other again. And I got a bunch of relatives in Macon, and I think I met one of them. We had a family reunion in Massachusetts, and the pastor at the church that we went to at that time, his last name was Thomas. And I'm telling you, he looked just like my father's side of the family. And I thought about it, and I may be wrong about this, but this man might be my family. And we talked to him after the service was over, and he came out of Macon, Georgia, exactly where my grandfather's brother was sold, in Macon. And he got married and had children and everything, but we don't know who they are. But when he said he came out of Macon, I'm telling you, I believe this man was one of my relatives, but I just didn't have proof of it. But I really, truly believe he was a family member. Okay, I got somebody here. Derek Lane, welcome to the panel. Shalom.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hi, how are you doing, Lisa?
I'm
Thank you
all
so
right.
much for everything that you do. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I didn't even know what I'm signing up for the StreamYard for, but I just wanted to say bless you, shalom, and keep up the good work. And also, interestingly enough, it's funny because my family, we are FBA, but we're Nova Scotian,
Hmm.
and we are on my mom's side, we're Smiths also. And who knows, maybe there's a connection there.
Yeah, but what do you think about these Gentiles running around here now, not taking accountability, saying that
Mhm.
it was mainly the Jews that were the slaveholders in the South?
I think that is the most pathetic excuse. I'm not even surprised at this point in time in 2024. That is the most pathetic excuse to sit here and scapegoat the Jews, although they were very much involved and the secret relationship between blacks and Jews really went into that a lot.
Yes,
But they were never the majority, and they all did it together.
that's what I'm saying.
This was a European operation.
I'm sure if you could have a conversation with your forefathers that were around in that time, I don't think they would care. It would make no difference. They got treated bad regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, oh, thank God they're Italian. Like,
Yeah,
so,
you know,
like,
slavery sucks.
yeah. Like, come on now.
Well,
But,
thank you so much for being on the panel, and you're more than welcome to come back again.
thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye.
Shalom. Okay. So, y'all, I don't know what to say. I guess when I hear that again, I'll just counteract it with, it really don't make a difference to us, you know? And does it make America less responsible because, a certain group of people owned us? No, because it still happened on American soil. So why should that make a difference? It would still be America owing us regardless. It doesn't get anybody out of a thing. I just find that fascinating that people are running around here saying that. Oh, Shalom, the one and only Kid Gravity Beyond. Welcome to the panel.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good afternoon, Lisa. How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm about to head to the plantation, but it's a beautiful day down here in Georgia, so any day above ground living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, how would you like to weigh on this thing about them blaming the Jews for all of slavery?
Well, I've been getting in arguments on X for the last 4 days about that, and it's hilarious that we they. I guess the best way to say this is, so what?
Yeah,
Okay, great. You got another piece of information that you chose not to learn in school or on your own. Yes, they were complicit. Fine. A whole lot of people were complicit. They're all going to pay.
right.
So it's fine. But it's just funny that they like to tell you, oh, well, they had all these Union soldiers die for you to be free. That's wonderful. And we praise them for that. The government still got to pay, though. So who cares?
Actually, they don't actually, Kid Gravity, they don't deserve any praise for that. Because if you go back and look at the history of the Civil
Hmm.
War, we fought for the Union. Black men were on the Union side and the Confederate side.
Right. I just say
So,
praise. I'm just being facetious. I'm not really saying, hey, I'm going to be like, nah, I'm just saying, okay, great. Your great grandfather 7 times removed held free slaves. That's great. You, who cares? Let's go break that money off. But
yeah,
it's just fun. It's just funny watching them all argue over this. I'm like, why y'all talking for the government? This is between the cousins and the government. Stay out of it. Because I don't see y'all outside when they're throwing money around $300 million. All y'all do is bitch online. But y'all ready to go outside on this? Okay, cool. So when it happens, I can't wait for that day. Do you understand X is gonna crash that day?
yes.
All social media is gonna crash where y'all get y'all money. It's gonna be hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll live stream it because it's content.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the thing is, I don't know why they keep coming with arguments because I don't think our forefathers, if they were alive, they wouldn't be feeling any better about it. if
Right,
if you know what I mean, who owned them, it wouldn't make any difference. They were treated like crap regardless. And
right.
even during the Civil War, some of the slaves that left the plantation got stuck serving the Union and the Confederate soldiers.
Hmm.
So they were still, in a sense, in slavery.
Maybe they're figuring out that they're not as smart as they think they are.
Perhaps.
They're just saying they're just now it's coming to the realization in 2024 the real reset is starting and they're going to realize they're going to be at the bottom. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. It's a lot of inferiority that's happening the last few
Oh
years.
yeah, the fragility is off is
Mhm.
through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with
Ever
you.
since everybody got locked down, they just got their IQs went down, ours went up. I don't think they like it because that old way of them could say something. Why didn't I say so? It's not working
Oh hell no. No, that's the thing of the past. Absolutely.
anymore.
Yeah.
But hey, it's okay. You got to pull yourselves up by the bootstraps. You got to dust yourself off. All the things you like to tell us to do, we've done that, and now we're better than you. You can argue everything we talk about. We're right, and we go on with our lives. And now all you can do is just seethe online in your nice little echo chamber. Okay, fine, have fun.
Yeah,
Still, it's not going to change the fact of what's going to happen in the future. And then
exactly.
you're gonna have to stand. You're gonna stand in front of your maker the day he calls you, and you're gonna have to explain your entire life.
Yeah. Can you imagine them standing there and he's asking, "What did you do for my children?" Well, I helped
Or
them
he
migrate.
opens, or St. Peter opens that book, and
Yeah.
he's like, you remember this day?" He starts pulling up your he starts pulling up your tweets and stuff.
Yeah. 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 And all them times you had road rage using the N word and all this.
hmm
Yeah.
I would
Oh,
say other things, but I respect your platform too much. But it, I do have a live stream for members only coming up about something they like to hide that they don't do or they claim they don't do, but we have information to the contrary.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love for you to explain that to the Most High. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Really. But oh, and by the way, thank you for becoming a channel member. I'm going to have to reciprocate and become one of your members too.
Yes, ma'am. I'm just gonna warn you, if you do it before that show, I apologize in advance.
Oh no, don't worry about that.
Okay. Uh,
All right.
yes,
You
ma'am.
take care.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and conclude. That's all I wanted to run past you because that's been bothering me for some time. Ms. Kim, thank you for becoming a new channel member. And again, Magic City Enterprises 305. Thank you for the super chat. Y'all, I got another live stream coming up, and it's about the New Orleans rat infestation. The rats are eating all the marijuana in the evidence room. So we're going to talk about that. So I hope to see you all. Then, if you're not able to make it, then of course you can always watch it on the replay. Shalom, family.